Hi, and thank you so much for being here. I'm Jamie, and I'm excited to welcome you to Foster the Family's first ever virtual night of giving, Building Belonging. Whether you are parents walking through the foster care or adoption journey, or loyal donors who are passionate about pouring into the mission, or our faithful volunteers who have walked alongside us and the families we serve, or you've just been invited to something and you're not exactly sure why you're here, we are here for a reason. Because we care for the most vulnerable children in our community and we want to see them thrive. We are excited to share with you more about Foster the Family tonight, including stories from some of the families that we serve. I'm going to spend some time sharing some of my story and just what got Foster the Family started. And then I'm going to invite you to show up together for vulnerable kids. Don't forget about our silent auction that will wrap up at 7:30 p.m. EST, and be on the lookout for our incredible team member, Kayla, who will be sending out text updates through the night. So get comfy, grab some popcorn and cocoa, and let's dive in by hearing from Victoria, who recently adopted her son, Cash, and has been a part of the Foster the Family community since almost the beginning, since 2019.
Hey there, my name is Victoria Hutchinson, and I'm a foster mom and now adoptive mom of a son who's 4 years old. My son came to me, he was 18 months old, and he was in my care as a foster child for about 3 years before adoption occurred. We just adopted 8 months ago. It was quite a journey. He had been my fifth foster child and sixth placement. I'd had one child come back to me twice. So I was not new to the fostering sphere at all, but he was my first son. I'd always fostered girls before that. And it was different. Boys are definitely a lot different than girls, but he's just my sunshine. He's just a ray of light and has been from day one. So it was really lovely. I've always fostered young kids, mostly babies and toddlers. And when he came to me, it was just a great fit. He just really melded right in with the rest of my family and, just felt like home. Well, I've been fostering for a little over 8 years now. And one of the first things I did was look for a village. Everybody says you need a village to raise a child, and that is 10 times over the case when it comes to fostering. As a single mother by choice, it's even more important, really finding the resources and the community around foster care because it's tough. It's not an easy road. It's something that I chose for myself, and I knew it wasn't going to be easy. But Foster the Family has been a lifeline as far as building community and finding resources when I needed them for my kids in care. First thing was I found Jamie online with her blog, and then found out that she had put together Foster the Family. It was much smaller at the time, 8 years or so ago. I went to the first field retreat, which was amazing. And that was right after I had said goodbye to one of my first longtime fosters. So that was really instrumental in me being able to pick myself back up and start again. Because it's a loss. It's a really deeply felt grief that not everybody can understand. So it's really important to be in a space with other people who have been there, and to be that support for other people as well. Here in South Jersey, there's one that meets every month, and a really great group of ladies that come together, and the person that directs the group is really fun, and she really is involved in our lives and really makes sure that we have the resources that we need and we're connected where we need to be. Now that I've been in it for a little while, I can give my helping hand to other people and help them understand kind of what's next. But when you're trying to navigate the court systems and the bureaucracy behind foster care, it can get really difficult. You don't really know which way to go. And as much as the caseworkers and the resource workers try and help, they have big caseloads and they have a lot to do. So you don't always get what you need when you need it. I mean, really, it's been just a connection. It's a connection with so many people in the community. It's, that first night, especially as a single parent, and that first night when a child is in your home, not having the PJs that fit them or the right diapers or whatever, and having somebody come with a care package is monumental. You don't understand how much it's needed until there's a child with nothing, basically, that's dropped on your doorstep. And you have that child who is out of their comfort zone. They don't understand what's going on. They have a new person who's trying to love and care on them, but they really are just scared. So having to not have to go and pack them up and go to Target or another store to go get what you need to get through the night is huge. It's huge. Not only for you but mostly for the child. That's giant. Those care packages are amazing. And really the support groups, I can't say enough about them. Really just having that community around you is so important. It's important to keep in the foster system the great parents that want to care for children. It's really important to keep that community around them because it can get really hard. I would say try and find a community around you. There are resources out there. Foster the Family is growing by leaps and bounds from what I've seen in the last few years, and it's so encouraging to see. There's a lot more resources out there as far as which you can read online and through Jamie's books and other people's books, just to help you understand where the children are coming from and what their mentalities are when they come into your home. It's so important for you to understand how you can help connect them with their biological families, and if that's not possible, how you can help them through the adoption process. So, really using the resources that you can find around you is so important to help you get those children to the next level of care and understanding. Honestly, I just want to thank everybody at Foster the Family. It has been an amazing journey the last several years, not without its ups and downs. But I honestly don't know that I would still be a foster parent without this community. It's a tough journey, but Foster the Family makes it so much easier, and so much help has come my way just from the people that I've known through this organization. And my kids enjoy their events. It's nice to be in a place where they're not alone. They don't feel like the odd one out because everybody's family looks different at these events. And just the sense of I'm okay and everything's okay is something that they need daily. And it's so important, the work that you do. Thank you.
Wow, it is always so humbling to hear others' journeys. I'm so grateful, Victoria, for how you shared with us. So I want to share a little bit about my story now, my story as a foster parent, adoptive parent, and kind of the road to beginning Foster the Family as we now know it. It was 11 years ago that we became a licensed foster family, and we had no idea what we were getting into. We just were kind of coming in with a willing heart and a love for kids, and really no one in our lives who understood what we were doing. People were excited for us, but had no knowledge of how we needed to be supported, of the ways that they could come alongside us. So I found myself in this place of welcoming a child who shows up at my doorstep with literally a small bag, nothing in it that was of any use to us, feeling alone and confused, wishing I had someone to reach out to for help with my questions. Also, this kid is showing up right around dinner time, and my other kids need dinner, and this baby needs formula and needs clothes that fit, and I felt alone. I felt like there were these voices that I was hearing around me. It was people who were saying, I have always wanted to be a foster parent. I've often thought about foster care, or, oh, we love what you're doing, this is amazing. And so I hear all of these voices saying, we really care about what you're doing, but they didn't know how to help me. And so I knew that there were other people who felt the way I did, who had jumped into this foster care journey with sort of arms open wide, hearts open wide, and now feeling overwhelmed and confused. So I created a space. I went on Facebook and said, if you want a place of support, show up this time, this place, and we're gonna have a little support group. And I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but the very first meeting, 45 women showed up. And I was like, oh, there's a need here. There are other people who feel the way I feel. Other people who love these kids and feel compelled to do this work of foster care, but also feel confused and overwhelmed. So I had these voices in my head of the people who were saying, oh, wow, I love what you're doing. Oh, wow, I've always thought about this. And then now I had these other voices of parents who had jumped into kids' stories and welcomed them into their homes and felt alone, felt confused, felt unsupported. And so standing in the middle of these two voices, the question for me was, what does it look like to surround and support these people that I'm now getting to know, who have journeys and stories just like me, and then these other people who are in my community who want to get involved. So as I was in this group of people who had opened their hearts and homes to children, the question became, how do we show up for them? How do we connect those around them who want to help with those who need the help? So that's what we did. The questions of what do you need to feel surrounded and supported became answered for us. Okay, we know that when kids are placed in a home, they're showing up with almost nothing and we're feeling alone and confused. Okay, there's a felt need. We want to meet that need. So what does it look like for the community to show up with diapers and wipes and formula, to show up with backpacks and sneakers, and how can we literally bring to your doorstep, following the child who is placed in your home, everything that child needs? So we started mobilizing the community to show up in this way, literally on the doorstep with everything the child needed, with a meal for the family, and with an invitation into our caring network of support. Because that is primarily what we're about. We are about creating a context of mutual support where families can come together and feel less alone, where they can find within each other a place of community and mutual support, where our team, our amazing staff, can help connect them to each other and local resources and those in the community who want to help. Another need that we heard from the families we were serving is just a space where kids can be safe and cared for, and even get time with other kids who share similar stories, and parents can have a space for themselves. And so our Kids Day Out program allows for kids to just have this really fun time they look forward to, and for parents to have the rest and refreshment that they need to keep going. We have special events that serve our families, that create this broader community where families who often feel alone and like they're the only ones get to be together and enjoy fun together, get to learn from each other in a really natural context, have just community together. So as we learned how to serve the families in South Jersey with this sort of holistic support and just loving their families and creating contexts of connection and community for them, we started to have vision for outside of our small community in South Jersey and opened a second office. And now we have 6 offices where we have these thriving communities of care, where practical needs are being met, where there's mutual support, where there is a caring community and a team of people who really love kids, love families, and want to support them. Our big picture vision at Foster the Family is for every family welcoming vulnerable kids to have access to support, That is what we want. And so there are ways that we're doing this outside of our local offices now. One is our support group program, which grew from the 40 parents meeting in the church cafe to 100 support groups around the country where people are gathering together to find mutual support and community with each other. We're also expanding that to serving other churches and nonprofits and those already serving families welcoming kids by making our programs available to them. And as we've seen so many families be touched by our support group program and our Kids Stay Out program, we are hearing from other organizations, nonprofits, and churches who are also already serving families welcoming vulnerable kids. And now we can equip them with the programs that we're using to serve our families. We can empower them to go out and serve families in the same way. So we're so excited about walking with other organizations as they serve families in their communities. And our Filled Gathering, where we welcome thousands of women and couples to come away and retreat for a time of refreshment and just fun while we encourage them, equip them, train them for this really important, really challenging work that they're doing. I love to reflect back on our family story of jumping into foster care 11 years ago. That was 30 kids ago. It feels like a lifetime ago, but what I'm grateful for is how it also is the story of Foster the Family, of me feeling the needs of being a parent who was welcoming kids and then finding community, finding support, being seen and surrounded, having people show up for me, and then encouraging the community to do the same. And what I love is how many people have joined in this mission of supporting families. We have an amazing team at Foster the Family, people who just love this work, love the families they're serving, and we now get to hear from a couple of those families who've benefited from the work of our team.
Hi, my name is Ashley Madison,
My name's Ben Madison.
and we are foster and adoptive parents. So we have been foster parents for almost 7 years.
2018.
Yeah, since 2018, we've been foster parents, and we've had about 10 children in our home, in and out of our home since then. So when we got roped into foster care, as we were starting the licensure process, one of our friends who'd we known from way, way back had introduced me to Foster the Family and said, you should come to this group that I go to. It will be helpful as you begin the licensing process and as you start the classes and you get approved. I think it would help you orient yourself and get to know people that are also fostering besides just me, and help build that community. And that was really great because she was the only person who we knew at the time who was fostering, who we actually knew well. And that started our foster care journey off right. I think we had built-in community at the very beginning of people who've been there and he knew exactly what we should expect and what we shouldn't expect and when things were a little off, and they could help us navigate that process. So came to my first meeting, met some people, and I'm still friends with them now, and it's been years.
It really did shift the way that we thought about foster care and were able to accommodate into our lives. Like we're both work full-time, we're both 40 hours a week, and the work that Foster the Family does in just that initial placement where they bring diapers and clothes, it smooths it so much, right? There's so much chaos and so much panic and so much unknown that having a friend that we know in Foster the Family show up and be like, we're praying for you, we love you, here's dinner, here's stuff, it's just it changes the whole dynamic.
I think, too, helping meet other foster parents was helpful for us, seeing how we could foster and how it would fit into our lives. It never occurred to us that it was something that, we could accommodate. And when you see how other people find a way to make it work, it helps really make that a reality for you and make it seem like it's possible, and not just possible, but something that is absolutely something that you could do.
And it's like a stone in a pond, right? The ripples go out because the number of random people who we know in church world who are not connected to foster care but see what we do, every once in a while they're like, it's amazing how you accommodate it, but also you make it look so easy. So like the question is never like, oh, what's going on? It's like, how many kids you have now, right? Like just because it's that community and that support for foster the family just allows us to just do it. Foster the Family will absolutely make your entrance and sustainability in foster care as a foster or adoptive parent easier. And that is a huge blessing, because when it comes to foster and adoptive families, nothing is ever easy, right?
Yeah. So I think that like initial support and then connecting with resources and community from the beginning really allows you to have a sustainable journey in foster care. And that's absolutely essential. But I think what is most powerful about being involved with Foster the Family is for us was it helped us help open our eyes to a community of foster families out there where our kids and our family, like the way that our lifestyle is not
Weird.
abnormal. It's not weird. We're the norm. So our children can hang out with other children who have the same medical needs as they do, who have similar stories. Our children have a sibling in another family, and we're able to see them. We just said hi to the other mom. I call her my sister mom, out in the hallway. So being connected to this whole robust community of foster parents has been invaluable for us. And these are people that have lived down the street from us, lived in town, lived 10 minutes away, people that we'd never meet otherwise, who are from totally different walks of life, have different careers, have different goals, have different dreams, but are all kind of coming together and coalescing around serving these kids of care. And that has been awesome.
Yeah.
So, we are a dual income family. We have the financial means to foster. We can float the expenses that come with getting a new placement, waiting for the first stipend to hit. If the worker doesn't show up with a clothing check or anything else, or formula or diaper, the worker shows up with a naked baby, we'd be fine. But we recognize that not every family can float those expenses. And so ultimately the support that Foster the Family offers through the initial care packages and through the additional programs and benefits that they offer is equity, right? They allow any family of whatever financial means to be able to serve children in this way. And for us, that's really important, I think, as people and as Christians, that everyone who feels called to serve as a foster family would not have finances be a barrier for them.
Absolutely. Yeah, the more people who are able to do this, the greater the impact, the better it is for the children. And Foster the Family provides a smoother path, potentially for everyone, right? Like no one should be boxed out of this system because they can't buy extra formula.
And similarly, no one should be boxed out of it because they don't have that community in place to support them to become elect, because we certainly didn't. So while we had the financial resources, we didn't have the community resources in place to be able to support us in our foster care journey. And Foster the Family getting us hooked up with other foster families, other foster parents, has been absolutely critical to sustaining our ability to foster parent.
Before I found Foster the Family, I remember feeling so alone. I was a brand new foster mom trying to navigate sleepless nights, caseworker calls, big behaviors, all the emotional highs and lows. And I didn't know anyone else who truly understood both the beauty and the wreckage happening inside of my heart and inside of my home. I didn't have anyone who understood the balance of loving kids deeply and being so thankful for the opportunity to love them, but also being exhausted, burnt out, and just desperate for someone to look at me and say, hey, you're not crazy. I see you. This is hard. You're not alone. I needed more than just information that comes from classes or trainings. I needed community. I needed people who got it, who could sit with me in the messy middle of it all and help me find my footing when it felt like I was drowning. Because there were a lot of times when I felt like I was drowning. And then I found Foster the Family, and everything changed. Because for the first time, I had people surrounding me who spoke the same language as I did, who understood the unique joys and challenges of foster care and adoption, people who knew what it meant to hold space for both hope and heartbreak, people who I didn't have to overly explain my situation or filter my words, because they were living it all too. I found friendships that felt like a lifeline. I found support that met both practical needs and the deep heart needs that come with existing in this space. Because of this community, I can show up better for my kids. Today, our home has more laughter, more smiles. There's more ease inside of it. I'm able to pour more into my children because others continually pour into me. They say it takes a village, and I found mine here. And today, I don't walk this road alone. I walk it alongside a community that encourages me, that equips me, and that embraces my family for all that we are. At Foster the Family, I found where I belong.
Tonight, you have gotten to hear from incredible families, families that we've come to care about, who are pouring out everything, giving so much of themselves for the good of vulnerable children. You've gotten to hear a little bit of my heart and our story in launching this mission, a mission that now serves over 7,000 individuals annually through 6 offices and over 100 support groups across 35 states. Those numbers are exciting and humbling. With over 400,000 children in foster care and nearly half of foster parents closing their homes in the first year, this is not just about foster parents getting supplies and having nice events or even being encouraged. This is about a child welfare crisis. National stats find somewhere around 30 to 50% of foster families who end up closing their doors within the first year. Families who have willing hearts and say yes, and then find that they can't keep their doors open. And then after that first year, 40% more close their doors each subsequent year. At Foster the Family, we believe that when families welcoming vulnerable children are surrounded and supported, these homes become places of belonging and healing. That is the mission. Our amazing team helps 97% of our families continue to say yes to caring for vulnerable children. 97% of our families feel supported and surrounded in a way that helps them keep their doors open to kids, that helps them create homes of healing and belonging. This is what it's all about. So now I am asking you to consider standing with us. We just launched our Building Belonging campaign to end 2025 with generosity. While we work to bring Foster the Family support to more families desperately in need, we have a big goal. This big goal is to raise $500,000 before the end of this year. We need you to help us get there. Thankfully, we have a team of donors who have raised their hands to kick off the generosity by matching a portion of this goal dollar for dollar. So here's my question. Will you stand with us tonight to support these families, to show up for them by making a donation through the QR code that you see on the screen? While you continue to consider about how you want to get involved, let's hear from one more of our families.
My name is Ricky and this is Aaron. We're the Rodriguez family of 7, 5 kids, and obviously 2 adults.
We were in the foster world for about 5 years, and during that time, we adopted our now 7-year-old son. Our children range in age from 2, 4, 7, 8, and 10. We had found Foster the Family online through Instagram, and I just was surprised that it was right in our backyard. Our first introduction into Foster the Family was through their Instagram, and we had been invited to one of their support groups. We went out there and we met a lot of people that were just walking the same journey as we were, so we really were able to have that kind of network of people who had been exactly where we're at and even further along in the journey, which was so helpful. I think one of the biggest things that has been such a help to us through this journey and for our marriage during this journey has been the kids' day out. You know, as you're adding children to your family who may have different special needs or have been through trauma, it's hard to just ask grandma and grandpa to come over and watch the kids. So we had fell into a season where we really just didn't have anybody to ever watch the children because they just weren't able to handle them. So we were invited to Kids Day Out, which is a program where our kids can come to and they have so much fun. There was trauma-informed like teachers and volunteers there. And so my kids, they were able to handle some of the behaviors that the kids were having. We were able to get a couple hours that were kids free to be able to finish a conversation and not have an interrupted conversation. And even for our biological kids, they were so proud and excited to be a part of foster care because they were just loved on and had so much fun during those Kids Night Out programs. I now went from attending the support group to I lead the faith-based group that we have, and it's just been really awesome to see a bunch of moms come together who most of us have adopted our children at this point, and we're still on this journey. You know, just because they're adopted doesn't mean that the journey has ended. So it's been great to lean on other moms and families that have adopted their children and are still walking along the same path that we are.
Just having people around you that are going through the same journey that you're going through is crucial, because you don't feel like you're going crazy and they're going through the same things you're going through. So it helps you sense that your life isn't out of whack. It's actually kind of normal. So that's refreshing to be around.
I just want to thank so much the families who shared their stories with us. And I want to thank all of you for showing up tonight, for the generosity that you're showing up with. I am so grateful that you are the kind of people who care about kids and families, that you just spent your night with us tonight, listening to these stories, listening to my heart, considering what it looks like for you to play a part in the mission of Foster the Family. And I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors for making this event possible. And if you haven't had a chance to give yet, there is still time. We will leave a slide up for a few more minutes, and then there will be another QR code there to set up a call with our team if you want to continue the conversation. We love the families that we serve. We love our community, and we want to get to know you and hear any way that you might want to be involved. So thank you for sharing your night with us, and good night.